Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed last weekend's UFC on Fox, but up next we have UFC 190 right around the corner. Of course, the headliner is Ronda Rousey vs. Bethe Correia for Rousey's UFC Women's Bantamweight Championship. I'll get into that in a sec, but I just wanted to let y'all know that I will not be breaking down the entirety of the main card. I'll be omitting the tough Brazil 4 finals because I didn't watch the season's action. As far as my undercard picks go, they'll be in the description like usual. Anyway, to Rousey Correia we go. It's this simple, folks. I can't simply pick against Rousey, especially when her opponent dropped a round to Shayna Baszler. No offense to Shayna Baszler, but if she can turn an MMA round into a grappling match with you, I'm sure Rousey can too. But Correia actually did some things right during her time in that first round. She was super aware of anything that Baszler was doing on the mat. Like, Baszler didn't look close to having that guillotine, the armbar, or the triangle locked in whatsoever. This is also in part to Correia's poise. She didn't panic and eventually slipped out of each sub. Come round 2 though, she came correct, eventually getting a standing TKO with Baszler just taking a barrage of hooks from the pitbull. That being said, I don't think we'll ever see Rousey in such a position. Rousey is too good to get punished by punches while trading with some of her own strikes in the pocket. Eventually, if close enough, Rousey seals the deal by a quick clinch, followed by a few strikes into an Uchimata or something like that. From there, it will be all she wrote for Correia, as Rousey will armbar her or something after aggressive positional grappling from side control. Rousey is just on another level than Shayna Baszler or any other female grappler currently competing in MMA. Correia's key though is that you don't want to give her that opportunity. Just don't clinch with Rousey whatsoever. Real talk, if I'm Correia, I'm pulling a strike and bite fest, Carlos Condit style versus Nick Diaz at UFC 143. Do this for as long as possible, try to hurt Rousey from the outside. You probably won't, but hope for the judges to side with you in the end. Other than that, I can't see Correia's typical Pitbull brother style troubling Rousey, because an aggressive, forward-moving combo is sure to get her clinched up and thrown down. I am actually going to say that happens because I think that is the likeliest scenario. So that is my pick, Ronda Rousey via submission in the first round, likely an armbar. Also, Rousey's technical striking continues to improve, so don't sleep on her surprising Correia in such a way. But let's move on to a not as obvious fight, the co-main event between 2 light heavyweight legends in Maurício Shogun Rua and Antônio Rogério Nogueira. This is clearly an OG MMA fan's dream in reliving what was a Pride Classic 10 years ago. Of course, both fighters are a shell of their former selves, but they'll each look to regain their former glory. Let's start with Shogun. Homeboy got absolutely blitzed by OSP in his last fight. Some people were calling a slip, but he actually got dropped by a rocket OSP left hook. Shogun, being reliant on his stereotypically kamikaze shoot-to-box style, was great for facing fighters of similar or inferior physiques. But Ovince St. Preux is a monster of a dude. On top of that, he knew how to use his length in that 4-inch reach advantage to fruition by executing a crisp, clean counter hook. Shogun ultimately was stopped quickly after, and many were saying that he should hang it up. But alas, here is Shogun, and he's fighting a guy where he doesn't have to worry about being outmatched athletically. He has Lil Nog beat in that department not only 10 years ago, but now as well. Lil Nog, despite his lack of speed and explosiveness and other physical traits, he still has very technical boxing. He has the ability to counterpunch within the pocket, and his punches are always super crisp. That being said, I don't think his hand speed is where it once was either. Like his brother though, he's always going to be respected on the mat. If he's ever getting out-grappled in MMA, typically it's because he's working from guard and not doing enough offensively in the judge's eyes to get the win. Don't think he has to worry about that possibility though, because I'm more so expecting a decision stand-up war or a brutal stoppage versus a guy like Shogun Rua. But with Shogun still being the more dynamic of the two athletically and skill-wise offensively, I think I still have to pick him. Number one, I think Shogun will find the correct angles to lunge in with a hook or uppercut and to continue striking without getting hurt too bad. Again, Lil Nog doesn't have the hand speed of yesteryear or OSP-like reach, so I think Shogun can take his best shot despite being less durable nowadays. And number 2, I'm struggling to think about what Lil Nog's game plan will be. Does he go out there and try to fight a technical boxing match with a lot of counterpunching, only to find a guy who is pivoting and trying to create, who is landing more than he is? Like, I don't know. Plus, if Lil Nog has jiu-jitsu on his mind, it's not like he's a D1 wrestler to trouble Shogun's somewhat feasible takedown defense in 2015. Plus, Rumble kind of sent him to hell in his last bout. Because I am struggling with picturing Lil Nog's desired game plan. While we know what Shogun's is, I'm going to pick Shogun in a blitz of a fight. I say he gets a first round KO with a crazy combination, shoot the box style. Up next, here's the second of the heavyweight bouts on the main card. It's between Stefan Struve and Big Nog, Antônio Rodrigo Nogueira. The way I look at this fight is that Stefan Struve always gets hit. Homeboy is going to have a near 8-inch reach advantage or something like that, and he's probably still going to get hit. We know what to expect from Big Nog. He has the same skill set as his younger twin brother and is fading physically as much as well. Once renowned for his durability for not being stopped by strikes in his first 37 pro fights, it's safe to say that Nog's chin has deteriorated heavily, with knockout losses to Roy Nelson, Frank Mir, and Cain Velasquez. In order to win here, I think Nog has to come into this bout with the same confidence in which he last fought in Rio. That night, 4 years ago, he knocked out Brendan Schaub in an impressive throwback performance. Trying to get into his mindset, I think he'll come into this match with the same confidence based on that happy memory. All he has to do is get within Skyscraper's reach and tee off. Struve won't be able to brawl back because with his long-ass arms and a dude within his reach, he'd be getting swung on before he can pull his forearms back and respond with his own punches. Struve's a solid Dutch technical kickboxer, but I don't think he is going to be able to keep Big Nog away with jabs because he never typically does. So I'm looking for Big Nog to get that KO, if not a submission after a knockdown. So despite the long layoff, I am picking Big Nog to channel that crowd energy and fight appropriately. I'd say the finish comes in the first round after that knockdown. Now, a victory for Big Nog may mean a morale boost for his younger brother in that co-main event versus Shogun, but you guys know I already picked Shogun anyway. Moving on to the next on the list, here's the first of 2 heavyweight fights on the main card. This one is between Soa the Hulk Palelei and Antônio Bigfoot Silva. Super easy fight to call in my opinion. Palelei is going to take this dude down and finish him with strikes. And if he doesn't get overzealous with the stand-up, there's no reason to why he should not be able to do this. I can't see an off the TRT Bigfoot finding success amongst the top 20 in the UFC heavyweight division nowadays. And Palelei is definitely somewhere in there. Physically, Palelei is stronger and more explosive than Bigfoot, and as long as he has the gas tank, he's the likelier to be dictating the pace of the fight. Again, it should not take him long. Just avoid Bigfoot's big right hand and take him down with a power double leg, and it should be all she wrote. You know, land in side control, posture up, and pound away. So I think that'll happen in the first round too, so look for Bigfoot Silva to go 0-3 since the TRT ban. And kicking us off in the women's strawweight division, it's a title eliminator between local girl Cláudia Gadelha and Jessica Aguilar. Tough fight to call right off the bat, but hey, you gotta give the UFC props for bringing in the WSOF strawweight champion and ATT standout Jessica Aguilar. Career-wise, Aguilar has notable W's over former champion Carla Esparza and 2 victories over MMA legend Megumi Fuji. Aguilar has solid takedowns. Number 1, she sets them up well with her boxing, which is also pretty technical and ever improving. That being said, she's going up against a battle-hardened opponent who almost became the first blemish on Joanna Jędrzejczyk's record. Cláudia Gadelha trains out of Novo União, who has, of course, produced UFC champions like Renan Barão and Jose Aldo. Unlike Barão and Aldo, though, I'd say Gadelha is sometimes more offensively reliant on her jiu-jitsu. She works well to get takedowns and is a very solid positional grappler, being an Andre Pederneiras black belt. In her fight versus Jędrzejczyk, Gadelha even landed her fair share of shots. And if it wasn't for a flash knockdown in the first, which she even recovered well from, she may have stole the decision for herself. To be honest, I think both of them are going to try to take each other down at certain points in the fight and will, but I think Gadelha is the more fluid striking-wise, and that will make the difference for her in this fight. That and the morale boost from the Rio faithful. So I'm picking Cláudia Gadelha to slightly outwork Jessica Aguilar for a solidly paced decision victory. That being said, if Aguilar goes full-out grapple fetch mode and gets her moments with it. I won't be surprised if she gets the nod here. Anyway, folks, that's it for me. Please leave me your thoughts, own picks, and suggestions in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Enjoy the card, and it should be a lot of fun. So thanks for watching yet again. Peace out now. Take care.